Hey guys, you already know this is your girl Woody for Winnie Escapes, and we're back with another book discussion. And this book was Reluctant Love by author Elle Kayson. So, with no further ado, let's bring her on. Jeez,
How you doing?
I'm doing
You
better
okay over
now that
there?
we're cooking after death. So, welcome.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you with us today. And you are our first author of 2026. So, let's clap it up.
Yay! Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being a part of this. What are we, 3 years running now, I think? And so this is exciting. I absolutely love this book. I know people be like, you love everything. I said I don't, because y'all look at my reviews. I don't give everybody 5 stars. And I did give you 5 stars because this book was phenomenal. But I want
Thank
to ask,
you.
like I asked all the authors, what made you choose this book for us to read?
For say you said what made me choose this book for our for tonight?
Yep.
Um, I just started really writing again after Demon's Dream this in 2025. I
Mhm.
just took a break, had a lot of things going on, was sick and figuring that out. So 2025, the end of the year, I was really motivated. I had some stuff earlier in the year. I was planning one book at the end of the year. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a Christmas book because I want to really expand this world. I'm trying to world build
Mhm.
my Welcome to Emancipation series. And I picked Reluctant Love because I felt out of all the books so far in the series, it's my favorite. I felt really, I identify most with probably Everly and Real Love. And I like it. And I worked so hard on the book. But there's something about Reluctant Love, like, I started writing it actually 6 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. So it's kind of nostalgic for me. It's a throwback to the era when I was writing the Kinseys and stuff. So it has more action to it than I've kind of like drifted to like straddling this urban romance line, and I'm just like really into the relationships building and the stories. And not saying that that doesn't happen in urban romance stories, but when I was writing, I think more that way. I was interested in like action and the pop, pop, pop as much as I was as the relationship building. And this story reminded me of that. And it just, I'm never completely happy with anything I put out. I'm very hard on myself. But this one, I feel, I actually, I look at it and I feel good about it. I feel really good about it.
You
So I
should
thought to
feel
share
good
it.
about this book. I loved it. And I think you did an excellent job with the balance of both. It has a little street in it because I just like
Mm-hmm.
I be telling people I don't. I love love stories. I don't want always urban because I feel like in our community of Black women and writers that we have to feel like we have to do urban all the time. I'm like, but everybody life ain't urban or street or gangster. Like we could be. We're more than just that. But I feel like you did this so well, where you how you did a combination of
But
both
yeah.
lives, and you really focus on the story. Well, yeah, they had like a little drama, which we'll talk about. But I think you did an excellent job with balancing them both, and I love that. So this is tasteful. Was it too much street? But it was also at the end of the day real love, and I loved how you went back and then brought them back to present time. Phenomenal. But I didn't even let you
Thank you.
introduce yourself. I'm horrible. This is what happens when you ain't feeling 100% and try to put it together. But please tell everybody about yourself so they have a little background, like how long you've been writing. I know you just said you took a break, all that good stuff.
So my name is Elle Kayson. What would I tell people? I am a retired professor of recent U.S. history. And I specialized in women's history, African American history, and Southern labor history. Those my things. So the world is really interesting to look at now from those perspectives. But I developed a nerve disorder and had to retire. And I started writing 2016 December. I published my first fiction book. I had an academic book in 2014, but my first fiction book. But it was like, oh, that's hobby number two. That's my second occupation or whatever. So it was nice, and I had some success beforehand. But it's still, I always thought of it as job number two. But in the aftermath of my retirement and my inability, probably, I guess, to be still, um I decided I was going to write, more. And, um, Yeah, I just started writing. Just a Southern girl with a big family. All that's reflected in my books. I'm a proud mother and grandmother, and yeah, the happy Louisiana woman. So that's
Girl,
me.
I'm calling you. I'm back in school, and I have to take history. I'm like, you know what, Miss Elle, I know something about your book.
I
Oh
do
God.
miss it. I miss it. I miss probably more. I don't miss the academic writing so much. That started to be hard for me because my writing heart was somewhere else because I was really loving the romance, the urban romance.
Yeah,
But I do miss the teaching. I miss my students. I miss the relationships you have with students. Um, and I miss creating the classes and things like that. It used to be really exciting for me.
I believe that because I am actually going back to school to get my master's in education.
Okay.
Because I work at a school, I work with special needs, and the first like, you need to get your master's, you need to be a teacher because you basically run this class and you need to get paid for it. But I'm like, this is like a passion thing. So I have my business, but I'm like, you know what? I'm here. Why not? But I feel like, when you're over a certain age, I'm old to go back to school. I haven't been to school in like over.
Never too old. Never too old. Don't think that.
Not, but you feel like that. We I have a high
Yeah.
schooler. I mean, I'm saying I'm like in a different era in my life. I'm like, even though everybody think I'm 12, I'm saying I'm not. Like, so I haven't been to school in over like 20. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a long time since I've been in school.
Mm-hmm.
But surprisingly, I'm doing well. But it's just like when you
Good.
said that, I know. Like, I think in the summer I have a history class. Right now, I'm taking microeconomics. I'm taking what am I taking? And religious studies and business ethics, all these different classes. But I'm like, there's a lot of writing, and I'm not a writer. I'm a reader. Like I'm like,
But when you get to the history class, if I can help you, let me know.
girl, but I get to pick like a history. I said I want to do either African American studies or women's studies because
Mm-hmm.
I've been reading a lot of more that I just love, which is my heartthrob. But I've been like doing like the new Jim Crow. You know what I'm saying? Like Malcolm. I've
Yep.
been reading a lot
Mm-hmm.
of
I used to teach that book. I love that book. I have it right here on my shelf.
girl. I don't even want to talk about that book because it is very triggersome when you start really thinking about how they do it, even when how
Right.
they add the education system in it.
Right.
Like the stuff that I learned, and then I was telling my mom how I was reading a scripture in the Bible, and it says, "The more knowledge you know, the more sorrow you feel." Or that's not. I think it's Ecclesiastes chapter 1, but don't quote me. But that's basically what it's saying.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so true because the more I really deep down read more about history and definitely our Black history, it makes you feel a certain type of way. And that is why I read love stories.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely an escape. I agree.
It's an
It's escape for
escape.
me to write them and read them. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And this book, I absolutely love this book. And it was a way for me to escape, but still to just feel like warm inside, but a little bit of excitement, like what's going to happen next. When are they going to? I'm like, how both of them were clueless about how they liked each other, even when the sister figured it out. But I have my notes, y'all, because I mean, y'all know I'll go on a tangent because I get excited. They know all my notes. I keep them right up in here. But let's get into Malachi and Farah. Like, I love them. Mother is cute. I love that she's a little curvy girl. Like, I love because for me, I'm like she's my height, because and but she's a little thicker than I am. I'm thinking she had it with the freckles. I had a whole vision of her in my head how you describe it. I said I love that, and he's like the chocolate brother who got the perfect white teeth. I let me just tell you, Miss L, I love that you kept on focusing on his teeth. I tell everybody.
I didn't even realize I did.
Everybody look at a guy. If you got a nice smile, that changes everything. And I love that you kept on like, and he just smiled. I'm like, yes. Every time my son, he pisses me off. He has beautiful teeth, but he act like he don't want to smile. I'm like, you don't know how much women love to see a man smile.
Yep.
And you kept on top like, yes, El Farrah, tell him like every time he smiled, like warmed her heart. Mr. Doug, but Doug is. So I had to say that. But let's talk about how you came up with these characters and how he acted like she was Sting, even though she was starstruck. Talk about it.
Right. So I had an enemies love to lovers story in mind, and I made a joke about myself in the book. We talked about it. Like, I tend to like those stories. Like, I was a college long ago, college woman, college girl, good girl, kind of strict parents, Baptist upbringing, and totally attracted to so-called bad boys, right? So that line comes up a lot. But I was like, what about, instead of like how I kind of at that point when I started it, I did a lot of like insta love stories, and or else, clearly, he falls first or whatever.
Mhm.
So this time I was like, well, what if I do this enemies to lovers? And I love to write, I love writing dialogue. So I'd have a chance to write the banter between them or whatever. And when I start with the spark of an idea, it just grows from there. So I can't tell you that I had this whole thing laid out or knew exactly what I wanted to do. But with that spark of an idea, it just grows from there.
I love them, and I love the friends like Seth and the sister trying to like his sister. They had me dying. Like I love how you developed the characters. Also, it wasn't just here's this guy, but you gave us like backstories and from the beginning, even when he was 19, I think she was 16 or 15 or 16. But I loved how you started talking about, his hurt. He was vulnerable from the beginning. These what people saying.
Oh yeah, I can see things on the screen, but I can't see it over here in the chat.
Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. So now I can see.
Okay.
Okay. I love that cookie see with the girl. Hey. That was very sexy. But you jumping. We gotta get that they was beefing for a couple of years first before we get to the kiss. Cause that whole kissing scene and when they first did it, girl, that's in my notes. But we at the beginning. He find out that
yeah, he totally misreads her. Clearly, I think everybody except him knew that. Like everybody knows what her issue is or whatever. And like once he starts to mess with her or torment her, and she's like, give him back as good as she gets. He doesn't expect that from her. So I like writing that like twist. Yeah, she's sweet and quiet, whatever, to a certain extent. But like if you push her, she definitely has mouth on her.
and I love that because she is a typical black girl. Like we're all sweet, but don't people think you're gonna play us too much and we ain't gonna have something to talk about? And she was intelligent, but she was also bashful. Like, okay, here he comes. Like, let me hold myself together. And I just thought it was perfect because she's a girly girl. Like, yes, but you ain't going. We're gonna check you. But did you see him, girl? Like, sure. So I love when you had that dialogue, even her talking to herself, or even him talking to himself about okay, and he knew what he was doing, calling her stuck up. But even when like fast forward when the sister when he was talking about her to the sister started laughing like, but she didn't tell him like, girl, she did that because she liked you. Like, but boys are so he was 19, even men are so oblivious. We're like letting you know that we're acting for a woman. But I love that even in the beginning when him and Seth went to the grandfather's house and he was signing and he's like, I don't want anything except like y'all. Don't be operating off of your emotions. It's a good opportunity. And he had to go, okay, then calm down. And I love that though, to the point that you showed from the jump that guys have feelings, they're emotional, but he goes back in because I hate when you read something like, okay, where does all this come from? We had like enough backstory to understand why he was today. And then, girl, there's so much like but it's so much unpacking this, and I'm like, I'm trying to make sure I get it all in because I'll be like stuck on one part, and I'm like, read a book to everybody else. But we get to the point where I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. So we know they were beefing in the beginning, but we all knew because they liked each other, but they couldn't admit it. But then we had a shootout. I just thought, okay. But then we get to the point where they had shots. And I loved his reaction. And the great part of this, the part I want
very telling,
where she didn't realize, like, he didn't have to do how he was with you. Talk about that scene because you wrote it.
I thought it would be a way very telling of how he felt about her, even though his mouth says one thing, his actions say another. So that was just on my mind in that scene. and that it confused her. Like she didn't know how to read that, because the way he talked to her afterwards was very different from someone charging down this, driveway trying to save her or whatever. So again, just creating conflict that they have to that kind of conflict creates great like internal, like an internal monologue, and starts to starts them to shifting how they see each other or what this could be or whatever. So and I wanted to, I was like, how do I bring in the little bit of drama that I'm gonna have? And I thought that was a good way to like introduce it. But again, that was a part that was written a while ago, whatever. So I just had to update a few things, to make it relevant for this new universe.
You did a great job, and
Thank you.
I loved how they were acting afterwards. But the funny part about this whole story that I loved in the beginning is everybody knew what it was except for them. That's what made it even funnier and more entertaining to me. Because like even after he gave all the demands and stuff like that, and the sister's like, "You need to apologize." Okay, he's still being stink to her because now he like in protective mode. He has this guy take her home, and then at the end, what's her address? Like that had me. I'm like,
Right.
I loved it. And then when he pops up on her and see her talking to the guy, he had to get out the car. Girl,
Yeah, he didn't like that at all.
he couldn't hold it. And I'm like, how you, bro, I understand that, but they're older now. So I'm like, how you don't see, but she was just viewing him as like, he just trying to control everything.
Mm-hmm.
That he liked it because he didn't have to get out the car. He didn't have to make sure he came home safe. He didn't have to press little neighbor Ron. Like, oh, I felt so bad for him, but I think he was a great character to play in the book. What made you come up with him? I thought I liked him.
Yeah, I liked him too. I did. I debated back and forth how I wanted him to be. Was he gonna how those writing those kind of characters that are kind of foils? It's hard to write because a lot of times I like them, but they have to bend typically for the MMC. Like they have to be the weaker character. So I'm always thinking about who I might want to see later, use later, whatever. Like he won't, he's not particularly a character, but I have had characters that I wanted to see more of, and I'm just like, well, he kind of gave in to the MMC, so I don't want people always thinking of him as weak or whatever. So sometimes they have to push back a little bit more, but definitely I just need this kind of, it's kind of a stock character, this guy that sort of kind of fans the flames of jealousy or whatever, but also is, it's one, it could be a character on either side, because like in Demon's Dream, how Dream felt about Eve the whole book, and some people got mad at me about that, but they just feel like they perceive this character as a threat, so it's hard for them to like them or whatever. But again, it's a way for, if you're really being honest with yourself, even if you're not saying it to the other person, if you're being honest with yourself internally, like, Makai has to ask himself, why do I have this reaction to her talking to this guy, right? Mm-hmm. So it's, again, this kind of device to drive the plot forward as far as, the development of the relationship, them discovering how they feel and things like that.
I could totally get that because he's an next door neighbor. He's in a rich neighborhood. He's more her speed, even though he wasn't her speed.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get that. I just thought he was perfect. Every time he popped in, it was like the perfect start. And I just thought.
And he really cared about her. Like, that's why, he tried. He's not for that. He's not cut out for a certain type of life, so things shock him or he's not ready for that. But he did care about her. And then, like you said, they're neighbors and they knew each other well. So in my mind, I know that doesn't all come through in the story. He genuinely cared about her. It's just these other guys were just not. He wasn't built for that.
And then he gonna tell her stay out the hood.
He's gonna make her go right to the hood.
Her heart, yo, I love their dynamic. Like, you ain't gonna tell him what to do. She knew he was serious, and he pops up. Oh, here he goes. I just love it because he was like, didn't I tell you? He pops up on her at the baseball game,
mm-hmm.
softball game because it was a girls' game. That whole dynamic where he was like, I didn't talk to you. She acted like she wasn't going to get up. And he looking at her like, don't make me come over there and get you. And I was like, who's this guy? That whole thing, and then the side chick, girl, like talk about this because this was that scene was
You know,
everything. It
the
shows so many personalities.
the crazy thing about that scene is what made me stop writing that book 6 or 7 years ago. I could not make peace with it, and I still don't. Just I was like, I don't know. I can't tell you what it was about it. It just aggravated me. I could not get around it, and I will. That's kind of a insight into me as an author. It will be one thing, one comment, one wrong comment from somebody, one wrong scene, and I will just stop. I'll freeze and stop. That's why sometimes it takes me so long to write, because sometimes I just stop for a few weeks because I'm aggravated with something, and then over the course of those weeks I'm like, isn't that so bad, just keep going, see what happens. But sometimes like that scene, it just, I was like, I can't get it together, that scene is bothering me. Yeah, and I just stopped writing the story. Like, I
I
couldn't really, yeah, I just
I love
couldn't.
that scene because I think it pulled everything together. It shows like his dominance. It's kind of it showed, and it
Mm,
also came when like he put her up on a car and stuff like with the other girl. And that's when you saw he like really liked her. He was touching on her thighs, and then he went, well, she might like me too. Like that whole trying to figure what these feelings are, what we about to do. So I felt like it built up to kind of like her having to go stay with him,
mm-hmm,
and then she felt about like, who's this chick? Like, oh, I have deeper feelings. So that scene I thought was very important.
mm-hmm.
Seth was sitting there laughing at us, and like his best friend, like, who you kidding here? And also gives you opportunity. So hopefully, I was gonna ask you this: are you gonna have if Seth's gonna have a story because he's been messing with too many chicks popping in and out, and I feel like he deserves a story.
I think about him sometimes. A couple other people have asked me that about him. I don't know. I don't know. Seth like has got to get, he's got to get still and be ready to be with one person. But I
That's
love his character.
good.
I love those kind of characters who are funny but can turn that off and get like serious, ruthless in a minute. And so that's again a kind of stock character that I'll write. And I like him. I do like him. We might see him again. Probably will definitely see him around Emancipation. So
I think he deserves a story because I think he's funny, he's loyal, he cuts it on and off. Yeah,
hmm
because you could go any way with him, even in here, like he was talking to this girl and part of that. So it could be like, well, who's the chick that got him to be like, we probably haven't met her yet. But the point is, now he sees like how his main man is settling down. It could inspire him because I really did like his guy. I feel like he was the perfect homeboy, best friend, partner who no matter what, ride or die, but he was still, like you said, silly, big brother. I
hmm
found love because he is a trip, but I did enjoy him throughout the whole series. But then, because all this drama happened, we find out. So he tells her not to go to the hood. She went anyways. And then what? Hi. Then some guys are gonna be so let's talk about they
That's so socially ignorant. I see this. I can address this question.
yes.
I'm not sure what you're asking. Like, how did I decide how to expand it? Like, can you explain it to me? What you mean?
I like your name. I like that.
I like
Explain it so
the
that's your
picture.
question. So then after all that happened, let's talk about this gas station scene. That was a trip. She pulls up to need to get gas. She gets out, and that's when we get introduced to Terrell.
hmm
What the heck? Now that I was like, wait, hold up, because before when he first came in, like you're a very intelligent young lady. You really are. Now I can see why you're a professor because you brought him in a little bit earlier. I'm like, yo, who the heck is this guy? I mean, I was totally confused. I'm like, who is this guy? Tells him, yeah, I'm glad y'all didn't kill him. Let him think he can't be touchable. And then they were like, well, he's with this girl, and that's how everybody followed him. But when I was reading that whole chapter, I was like, yo, what is about to happen? Like that kept me like that was like the kind of like suspense. I'm like, yo, who is this person? What the heck is going on? Why is he gun ho for this guy? When also when Makai was talking about like being mostly legit. Like he's trying to really get out of there, but he understands like haters. So
Mm-hmm.
I really was like, oh, she's smart. Like you, like that. How you put him in there and it took him out. Like he just had a 5 second. I'm thinking, who the heck is this guy? Then he shows up at the freaking gas station. Girl,
He's, now that he's seen her, my thing was like he had been like hating Makai for a while, having that drummed into his head by his mom or whatever. And so it starts out that Farrah really is just like a tool to get rid of Makai. And you don't have a lot of scenes with him to see it, but in my head, what happens is that like once he sees her, he's like fascinated with her. And because he kind of has other issues, it makes him it makes it possible for him to get, I don't like to loosely use the word obsessed since it can be used, in very technical or medical sense. So I don't want to say, oh, he's obsessed with her, but maybe not in the medical sense, but in our just street parlance, he is obsessed with her. He's stuck on her,
no.
fixated on her. And so it becomes, this is another thing that Makai has that he thinks he should have. And another reason that he wants to get rid of Makai, because he really thinks maybe, his mom's drumming into his head, you'll have a chance with her if Makai wasn't there. This girl should be with you. Why is he any better? And so now that you have the aspect of him believing probably that he at least deeply likes, if not loves her, then that uh, makes the feelings for Makai and the determination to like do Makai in even more intense.
Yeah.
So that scene, it was like I wanted to show like he just couldn't. He had been in the background for so long, but when it comes to Farrah, like the possibility of touching her or seeing her close up, he just cannot resist it. Even though he might should have resisted it, because he's letting himself be seen. Um, leaving these sort of clues or whatever. But the point is that he couldn't resist. He couldn't resist it. So that's why I threw him in there.
Very smart. Okay. They ask you something.
Ah, okay. Okay, I got you. No, I updated the story to fit into the emancipation universe. It wasn't initially intended to be part of emancipation. It probably was going to be set at that point when I started it in South Texas because I was still in San Antonio. So some probably I always write about. Sometimes I clearly write about Houston and San Antonio. Sometimes I write vaguely about some spot between Houston and San Antonio. Just I use the term South Texas or whatever. So emancipation did exist before Real Love. We see it first in actually the short story called Rediscovering Love, which is what it was in an anthology. But I'm reworking it to release on its own. But no, it did not exist 6 to 7 years ago. It didn't exist 6 to 7 years ago.
So back to our story. So I like the gas station see when he popped up, but I thought he had mental problems. I really feel like he had something mentally wrong with him that they were able to manipulate him. But I kind of feel bad for Terrell. Like as you really got
Yeah.
character, I'm like, y'all, his mama, everybody's doing him dirty. But then, then after the gas station scene, he was like, okay. He finds out that her parents ain't with staying at the house. He's like, you stay with me. I don't care about you. Stay with me. And he surprised her and be like, you hungry? And start cooking. You think I can't cook? Well, I didn't ever knew a man would have a mandolin. And then the person said the kissing scene. Talk about it. The people want to talk about the kissing scene. That was hot.
um, I just needed it to happen. Like I was like, we all know how they're feeling, even if they don't know. But I need them to be more aware of how they are feeling. So how does this manifest? And they're like in this room together, having, this conversation. Um, she's in his home. So I think all these factors like feed into this sort of growing awareness. And the kiss is just sort of a manifestation of that. Like
Mm-hmm.
um a perfect, I guess, confluence of location, feelings, coming together. So that was that. I just like, it needed to be there. To me, it needed to be there. Like I just had to have that. I did. I like that scene.
It was great.
I
And
always like when they're. I always. I'm one of the other things that I used to cook a lot. And so I love. You'll see. Like I'll have to stop myself from like breaking down like recipes in detail. I'll talk a lot about what they ate and that they cook together. You'll see that a lot. So I always love scenes in kitchens where they cook together and then maybe other things happen. But my characters are gonna eat and cook. So
I love it. I have a degree in culinary, so you can write all cooking
oh,
scenes all day.
okay.
Love cooking, travel, girl. And somebody read a book, I'm for it. You'll get 5 stars from me every single time. I whole thing. I will absolutely love that. But another thing to give you kudos on how smart you are. You think you're slick, but I like it. After that scene, how you had them like basically act weird. She was acting weird, like what happened, and he kind of like what's going on here. But then the Rob, is his name Ron or Rob, the neighbor calls her and like, hey, somebody's creeping around your house. Like you're very smart how you can kind of separate it but forcing them back together.
Yeah.
I'm like, very. I love how you do that in this whole story. Like you separate them, like they try and figure things out, but you like a way to force them back together. So that scene really manifests everything else because they go back to the house, find out he broke into the house with the tulips and all that crazy stuff, and then that's when she starts. Even though freaking her neighbor is hilarious, like he's some tough. I love it when he acts like he acts like a tough. But because he broke into the house, and he gave out his alarm to come off, he said all those things, that also made it to the point where now she's back at his house. And she's having please, please talk about the nightmares and how this
Mm.
part had me dying laughing for a good 3 minutes. When she was like, okay, I have to go into his room because I can't sleep here. And then he like wakes up and she opens up the door, like, what are you doing? And she's like, can I sleep with you? And he finally lets her in and he goes, you better not drool on my pillow. Like that was like I love that part because it was just
It's
so
so him. It's so
oh
him. Like
man.
he can't let himself like be seen as soft with her or whatever. Like he has to say something. Like I think the whole breaking the house scene was again like you said to sort of make them have to be together, but also I thought it was a moment to like emphasize how protective he's grown of her and that he can be sweet towards her because when he realizes she's scared, he does that. But again, like he lets her get in the bed with him, but he just can't let that ride. He's got to say something. He's got to like, you know, still got his guard up a little bit, still like not sure about her. And so also it's just part of, I think they like the banter between themselves, like even when it's not as like harsh as it has been in the past, they keep it up, like they, even when they like when they're having the moment in the crime museum, like
Girl, we're gonna
you,
talk about that whole museum. I
yeah,
love how sweet that was of him. Like, he'd been
yeah,
in the house and he thought, like, I'm gonna take you somewhere. I don't want you to be scared in this house. Let's go out. That's literally, I'm like, after that whole Julia thing, I said we have to talk about the museum. And one thing I really loved about this book and their characters is that you allow them to still be them. Like because she was with him, she didn't feel even though he wanted her to shut up, she wouldn't shut up. But he accepted her mouth and he like, no, I need to hear it. Even when he was nice, she was like, but I still and he's like, what part? He's like, all of them. Like, you know what I mean? And that made him feel good that they both realized that they could still be themselves. Soft, hard,
yeah,
without judgment. And I feel like in a lot of relationships is the problem. When you get with somebody, they bring the representative, but no one ever really accepts a person for who they are. And you did that so beautifully within those two characters. Like even throughout, he still wanted her to have that little mouth, and she wanted him to have his little mouth too because it really balanced them
mm-hmm,
out. So I thought you did that beautifully. Well, please talk about how sweet he was in this museum. Talk about it.
yeah. He was worried about her, and like you said, one of the things she's, going back to what you just said, like they're able to be themselves or whatever. Um, and that's why, if you notice, she tells him all the time, like even when he's like snapping at her for having a smart mouth or something else, she'll tell him, but you like it, because she's coming to realize that he does really like it. And
Mhm.
finally, he'll have these moments where he's like, yeah, I guess I do. So realizing that they like each other, and like the fact that I thought it was important to show that he cared enough to know what she was into, but also it gave me a way to do something different. Like I was like, after a while, like in my group chat, I have a group chat that we talk about all the time with Aubrey J, Jazz B, and Tava, because we're Penn sisters, and they'll kill me if I say former Penn sisters. We used to be in the same company, but we're still Penn sisters. But in the group chat, we have a list of like probably 100, more than that, different ideas for dates or whatever, because we're all very like always trying to write something different. Even asking each other, hey, have you done this before? We don't even want to copy overlap with each other. And so that scene gave me a chance to show my true crime interest. It made me have to look up what Farrah studied, and that comes out later. I think I get into like a little too much jargon, but I was like, I've done all this reading. We're gonna use this, um,
But it worked. I
and
think it worked
and
well for the
and
situation she was in. She was able to use that to kind
yeah.
of. So yeah.
But I thought, okay, he cares enough to, we always love it when they show that they care enough, that they pay attention, to what you like or whatever. So he takes her to this unorthodox place, but because he's cared enough um, to know that she would like this. It also was a scene in which it's long. It's a long scene, and it's because I was like, I'm always very self-conscious about relationship building. Like, oh, you got to show them building the relationship. You got to show why they fall in love, how they fall in love. Can't just be, all. It'd be great because it's in our heads and it's in their heads, but readers need to see it on the page. And this was a spot where I was able to let them talk because they're walking through a bunch of exhibits. So they're able to talk. You're able to see, like, in certain spaces, like that interrogation room, how he feels about certain things or whatever. You get to see why she pursued this major with a story about her cousin. Um, and I just, I worried about that scene being too long, but in the end, I was like, it's just they're gonna have to take it how it is, because I thought I got to show so much in that scene, like both both through dialogue, the words they spoke, but also in the context of where they are, that he cares enough to pick this, that this is something we can see, something that she's interested in. We could see, that he's had experience with the criminal justice system, all these ways. So the it, the way it works first in the foreground in their discussion, but also with where they are in the background.
Well, I'm glad you kept the scene because that was my one of my favorite scenes in the book.
Thank you.
Before
I love to hear that. I really do, because I was
well,
worried
I'm
about that
saying
scene.
for everything you can see right here, I have the museum. So because everything you said, we got deeper. We understood why she did that, her passion
Hmm.
for it. We understood him and why he was struggling with certain different things. When we were talking about the family, and it was a way for them to actually really connect just them two.
Hmm.
And I thought you did it perfectly, and everything in that scene ended up playing out at the end. So her knowing those things, her able to cycle like he's like, "Are you analyzing me right now?" Like, yes, and he was doing the same thing with her.
Hmm. Yeah, they're both always analyzing each other.
Yeah, they're always analyzing each other. And then how she broke things down, he goes, "Wow, she did that in 2 seconds. She really do love this. She's really smart." Like it made, I feel like he appreciated her and she appreciated him during that scene. Like you said,
Hmm.
I thought it was perfect. You'd have cut it. Like I tell authors, I hate when they do the opposite because, like you said, if this is a story, we need to feel like we're a part of the story. Build it up because I know in real life, here's where you might find somebody, boom, but it's still content in there that we need to know about.
Hmm.
And I thought you did that so well. That's one of my favorite scenes in the freaking book. Like on their date.
Thank you.
I love that scene because I'm like, oh my god, he's paying attention. He took her to the freaking museum. Like I just
Thank
like I fell
you.
in love because it just made me feel like as a woman, like you said, we want to be seen without saying anything. We're in school and she didn't even know about it. Like, oh my god, like it was like breathtaking. And she even looking at him like, wow, you sitting here? Like 5 stars, 5 freaking stars. I
Thank you.
Okay, now after this, you take her hot tail to the club.
My urban heritage. There always has to be a club scene. There always has to be a club
Hey, I
scene.
ain't mad about it. I ain't mad about this club scene because when she said, he ain't my daddy,
Yeah, she's
and
mad at
she
him.
went out to the
She's
club.
aggravated him. I would say. She was like not feeling him at that point. And she was like, she
Mm-mm.
had to get, she wanted to get out of the house in another way too.
Oh my God. And he showed up, I ain't your daddy. And she looked at him, snitch. Like, the whole, their cat and mouse game that they play, or cat and dog, whatever one you want to reference, is the best freaking. Then he's like, no, we got to act like we're together. Like, how he played on her emotion, knowing that she's going to fall. Like, girl, I love this story. I'm telling you, that's why I already downloaded the second book.
Thank you.
I just love how I'm a teacher. I pay attention to detail, as you can tell. So all the little pieces I think matters when it's a story, especially a love story. And I thought you did it perfectly, even when the part after they dancing and stuff, and everybody in the club, but then a crazy cousin in there, like all those things. When he said we probably draw them out, let's do this. They're dancing, everybody's watching. Then the crazy bathroom scene when he gets to her again. It just developed. Like I feel like you did a lot of character development and developing the story. Coming, like, oh my God, here's the guy again. Like you kept them we're like a happy, lovely land, but then you throw that guy, you throw
I
Terrell back in.
know. And I was like, people are gonna say, oh, Makai can't adequately protect her, they're not gonna like him. But I had to keep Trell was like, yeah, he was something creepy, scary. So
He was a menace.
resourceful for sure.
Very smart, but I think he had mental health issues. Even when he had that headache and stuff with his mom, I'm like, yo, something is not mentally, he's not mentally stable. But the blessing of it all is, like you said before, he made it where his character was like obsessed with her. And if he, in the end, because she's studied that, it kind of saved her in the end. She knew how to play. Okay, I got this sign, but we're gonna talk about that. Let me get this stuff before, because after that, when she didn't feel safe and all the time, all that good stuff. We need to talk about the sex scene.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, when you wrote it, and I was like, you know what? I'm like, I have to talk about this because I was wondering. I was like, is she a virgin? Like, I want to, because we never talked about it. We knew like he had other chicks, but we never like even the back time guys talked to her. Never. But I'm like, she in her 20s now. But is she really like I don't know if it was a guy or anything. But and then plus she was like, oh, how she feeling tingly all inside. And then when she saw him, and then he was like, let me in. And she's like, what are you talking about? And then I was like, oh my God, I think this is her first time. Like in my head. Because she already let her like had her climax, and she was like, I'm like, he just barely touched her. And I'm like, well, maybe they're just that passionate for each other, but to also love.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, you talk about it because you had me all. I was like, oh my God.
I know that I realize now, like, again, I think readers are in a different place than they were 6 to 7 years ago. And a lot of things that I see them, like, if I'm in these spaces sometimes, because I have to be as a publisher too, and we're promoting, and like just for my own promotion or whatever. So sometimes I do encounter these things, and oh my God, there's this whole long list of things that people say they don't like, and they wonder why. What a lot of women wondering, like, why are you in your 20s and still, a virgin or whatever? They find that so unbelievable or whatever. But again, you have to think about, I come from a very strict religious background. Not saying that, that was my story, but I knew several people for whom that was the story. But also the author Kenya Gore Bell tells me that I have a virgin kink, and she does too. That we have, we have all these stories with I kind of moved away from it.
No, stay in that vein.
But I do it's just something about writing about that first time. And it's I don't want it to come across as problematic, like, you get into these notions of so-called purity and who's a worthiness and deservingness and desirability about women. And I don't want to feed into that, like, the only women who are, good women. I don't want to be feed into that virgin whore dichotomy. Like, that's the only thing that women can be, either virgin or whore, if you are having sex. Because I am very much sex positive for people. doing what they want to do in consensual, safe ways, So, but that's just one of my, if we want to describe it as that, I guess in terms of my writing, that's just like one of my writing kinks. I do tend to write stories with virgins, and increasingly with virgins who don't disclose that they are. You know, sometimes you have stories where they make a big deal about it. Sometimes there's just stories where, like, even though they are virgins, they're still like, it's not because of any sort of maybe morality issues. It's about, I haven't felt that way about anybody. I haven't had that opportunity that I wanted to take up or whatever. So it's not like, oh, I'm holding on to it because this is a measure of my value or worthiness. Because it's like, hey, when I meet this guy, like, one of my old stories, The Beauty of the Street Love, she's a virgin. She's like in her early 20s, but she sort of gave it up, hate to use that term, within 6-7 days of meeting the guy that she liked, So it wasn't like she was just, it wasn't about judging people or, again, trying to be overly moral. It was more about opportunity and their feelings, and not ever having felt moved enough to want to do that. And so I think it's another way to show why, this is her person.
I think I'm gonna still go for the virgin route because I figured she was one because her personality, and she was in college. When you're busy, you're busy.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
she was stuck up, but no, she just was busy all the time, so she really didn't have time. But doesn't mean that. I feel like a lot of books now, you rarely get that. Everyone, it's not even just being a hoe or whatever, but everybody's been with everybody, which is fine because, like you said, we can do what you want with your body. So to read it sometimes it's nice to read. Like everybody's not, we're all in different journeys in our lives, and I'm like, it's okay. Some people don't give it up when So I enjoyed it. I love that was the first time, and I loved her reaction. I also think any first scenes are the first time they do it with anybody's good, but when it's really their first time, I think it's just beauty in it. And one thing I can say about even in your writing, even though they had sex several times, you didn't over sexualize the story. And sometimes I felt like, I'm like, is this erotica or is this a story? Like, you don't need 20 pages. The first sex scene should be like very intimate. But I feel like you did a very tasteful job as you added it in there, but it wasn't over. And we still got a lot of the story. And I tell you, I love the story part. Of course, anybody, if it's a love story, you're going to have sex scenes, but I still want book to be mostly the story. And I just loved how then after that, he was like, oh, ain't nobody touching her. Like,
right.
But it's so many things that like happened in this story when she met the hot mess mama, and then the sister, and then the other girl, the girl he was messing with, come to the house. I just felt like left and right, but they in a good spot. All this crazy stuff kept on happening to him. Then he had to go to the jail and talk to the uncle and found out the mama slept with the uncle, killed the dad. Girl, you have so many twists and turns. I could see why you decide, like I could really see why you're murderous because there's so much stuff going on here amongst the love story, but it also felt very realistic. Like I could see all those things happening. So
that mama was something else.
Girl, I couldn't stand her behind.
You know what? At first, I was gonna make it when I started it 6 or 7 years ago. Like when I got, that's probably about the point that I stopped it. Like that about the uncle and everything wasn't in there yet. And so I'm always like trying to, I don't know if it's a factor of age or whatever. As I go along, I've gotten to where I'm always trying to redeem characters. Like, am I going to write them with the redemptive arc? Do I want to redeem them? And when I left it off, I planned to redeem the mama. I thought, she'll come around. She's like, doesn't think anybody's good enough for her son. I know a lot of mamas are like that, but she's going to come around and she's going to be okay. But when I, kind of revamped it this time and had to change the storyline, it's like, oh no, the mama's got to, her characters can't save her, so.
No, she was just selfish and vindictive and like but you did it great because it showed she was the same way back in the day after he talked to the uncle, like what she did, and she kept on lying at him. That just kept on breaking my heart. Like yo, I'm asking you one more time. I'm at like to give her opportunity, and then she's the one who freaking gave her up. Like what that like. So I had to save you. I'm a grown man. I asked you to save me. She was, girl, that mom. Well, let's talk about how mom gave her up. Then he, I just love him because, like, I loved how throughout this story, we watched him grow emotionally, like getting in touch with himself, even in front of everybody. You got this free, bro. Like, and I loved how much emotionally mature his friends were.
Yeah.
That you rarely see that, like a group of guys who like get it, like they like, yo, we know that's the one, and then nobody made him feel away. Like when he got quiet, like we already know what it is. You don't even have to say it. Like I honestly love
It's because like Johnny, he's in the short story that starts it. So he's married, and Prime and Emery are in Rose Love. You know, they're married. You don't see, if people ask me, they like Prime. They want to know if they're going to get their own story, but
that.
I
Like
don't have a story for them in my head yet. But he's already married, and Braden's not married, but Braden knows that Hyacinth is his person, and he's determined to have her. So he does get it. And Seth is just, Seth isn't on that level yet, but he's like you said, he's
what
loyal.
about
Like,
Luca?
um, he's an interesting character, very
He
strong or
is.
whatever, but I hadn't really given him any thought. I won't say I have. I love his name.
I thought he
I
was.
liked his
I liked his
character.
character. I thought he was. I think Seth definitely deserves a story because I just think he's hilarious. But when Luca popped up in there ready to like knock people out, he'd be like on point. All his little cues, I was like, I want to be in those. I like Prime. I even like Tech. I like the Tech guy too. The one from the story. He was interesting. All of them get a story. I think everybody should have a story. The sister, the
Never
girlfriend.
look. You never know in this
Well, the next book is about
universe.
somebody. I didn't see the time. I just saw it was book number 2 in the series, so I didn't want to look at it
Mm-hmm.
because I know it'll make me try to read it. So I said, nope. But I just felt like even all the girls deserve a story because nobody had nobody.
There's gonna. I mean, I plan quite a few. And they'll get to be, you'll see more of the connections. Like I have characters that have been in every story. Like people are like, were so irate with me because they're ready to see. If you haven't read, Real Love ends with, we know that something's happening with Tarzan and Theory, who've been, so everybody's ready for that. A lot of my readers are ready for that story, but I'm writing the stories. I'm like, y'all, I'll write what comes to my head, what I feel like working on. And I was actually about to use the story that became Reluctant Love in my Patreon. We read over it, like, because we do a scrap story series, like stories that I've written a lot on, but then it just said, I'm done. I can't do it. And we're putting them in there, letting people read them and see what they think about them or whatever. And we were about to put that one in there. And so I read it, my sister read it, another friend read it. And I asked my sister, I said, why did I stop writing this story? I kind of like this. Years later, you come back to it, like you don't have such a big problem with that one scene. So I was like, you know what? Let me see if I could finish this. So, and I was like, let me make it a more, bring it into present day and put it in part of the universe that I'm working on, as part of the universe I'm working on now. And so I did that. And I didn't expect so many people to be like mad about it. Like there were like a couple of posts in reader groups about, Elle, she did it again. She's not writing about Tarzan and Theory. And I have to bite my tongue because I think getting into those debates never looks good for the author. But in my group, somebody even said it in my group, and I was like, okay, you're not about to talk to me like that in my group. I was like, you don't get to tell me what comes next. I understand that you're waiting on something, but you don't get to tell me what comes next. I refuse to stifle my creativity that way. Like, I'm going to write what comes to my mind. I tell them that's part of being a writer. And if we think of the term, author as just meaning like a writer that's published, I would give up being an author before I would give up being a writer, especially if part of being an author is that people get to tell me what to do in that sense. I'm not going to not be creative. I'm not going to put out what I want to put out. I'm not going to stop writing the people who are in my head at that moment. Because I just don't work that way. Because for me, in a way, I'm still stuck in the space where like, this is career number 2 for me. So I'm going to do what the hell I want to do, and that's that's that. I had a job before where people could tell me what to do, and I'm not doing that again. So
I'm one of the guilty people. I tell people all the time, don't give me a series if it ain't done. Because I read over 100 books a year. Like I
hmm
told you before, I run a business, I have a husband, I have kids. So I'm always busy, but I'm invested. And sometimes I feel like, and that's why I read the book right before the interview, because I'm like, I don't want to get no characters mixed up. I don't want to talk about anything else. But I like when I saw book two, even I'm on another series, I'm gonna finish the books and then jump back. But I'm like, God, please don't. I know my personality. I love your art, but I'm gonna get this book back. I'm impatient. So tell me not to read it yet. Like, don't tell me.
well, they're interconnected in the sense that they're all in emancipation,
Yeah,
and there's gonna be like um these last two I didn't really do it again because of the way they came to me, but in some of them I'm going to get you invested in the characters who are to come. So you might see things about them, but the characters in that story, the main characters in the book that you're reading, their story is going to be completed in that book. Now you might like there are people who are mad because there were secondary characters whom I introduced who are going to get a future book that they're waiting on that book. I get that, but they'll come. I mean, I'm working on it now. It's what I'm working. It's my work in progress. My main work in progress.
but I like how you.
Um,
I like how you address that though, because
mm,
even as me being a selfish reader, I'm like, yeah, if we really want your authentic work, we want you to work how your brain works when you can get it
mhm.
out. Yes, are we selfish? Absolutely. But I totally understand what
Right.
you're saying. And I tell other readers, even myself, I'm like, wait, remember you didn't finish the other series? Oh, yeah, let me go back. Now they drop another book. And then as you read, like at the end of the day, a good read is a good read. You might not remember every detail, but stuff is going to come back. Like I have a
hmm
that this one lady take it forever. But as soon as it drops, I'm still going to read it. I probably remember it, but it's going to start coming back as I read. So
Right.
whatever
Right.
works for you from a reader who's selfish as time, I ain't gonna lie. But I still gonna read the work and you do you boo because then we won't get to offer to you that what we enjoy. Because
hmm
now you're doing something you probably making up stuff instead of like just flowing out of you. So forget those people. Do you and I'm gonna continue to do your work because I enjoyed it so freaking much.
Thank
I
you.
love when he busted in and killed him. I was mad that he wouldn't find out if the guy's gonna get his daughter back in the sex
I
trafficking.
know, and people got on to me about that. But what my point is, when they get upset about things like that, it's like that's one of those background things. This is a continuing universe or whatever. To me, it was like Makai told you he's gonna get her back. So to me, that means he's going to get her back. And I get that people want to know every little detail, but I'm like, in the process of building, universe building, there
Yeah.
everything is not gonna wrap up in this book because you're gonna see. Have somebody
I
fussing
don't
about
really
like
want to know though. I'm not gonna lie
yeah,
to you. That's
I've
gonna be a dark story with the sex trafficking. It just made me
uh-huh.
feel like he didn't give a damn. He was gonna get his woman. You're done. I'm over this. But I was like,
He's
plus
gonna find her.
I
He's
probably
gonna
was gonna tell
he
him
keeps
anyway.
his word. Like to me, it's like it's obvious he keeps his word. He says he's gonna get her. He's gonna get her. And
But Terrell wasn't gonna tell him.
mm-mm,
He wasn't.
no,
So it made sense to kill him,
no,
keep moving, and go on with your girl. And you ended it so lovely. And I was praying. I was
sweet.
like, God, please let her end this like this. Please let her. And you did. So I'm telling you, thank you personally. I
I'm
love
so
it.
old. I'm old school in that way, and of like I'm definitely. I tell people I'm definitely a happily ever after author. You know,
Yeah.
no, you're gonna get happily
Don't
ever after with
change.
me.
I
Mm.
love happy. That's
And
the point
happily
of
ever
reading love
after,
stories.
yeah, happily ever after. In in the tradition in which I grew up reading and the tradition in which I started writing, there is the couple is going to end up together, even if I don't show a wedding, because I don't want to write no wedding. Like people get on to me about, I don't know if they were married. You didn't. It's me. They got married. Trust me. I don't want to write a wedding, but they're gonna get married and they're gonna have to kids. So that's gonna happen with me. Usually like I see what people say. I even like in my content warnings, I put pregnancy because people are like, they are very triggered by that, or like, why does she have to get pregnant before she even lives her own life and all this? And I'm just like, it's not even
No, I'm
about all
for it.
that to me. It's just, old school, and that's part of the happily ever after. So that's probably going to happen or be on the horizon, even if they do take some time. You know, you might see them in a book 2 years later. They're probably going to have a baby or be pregnant. You know,
I
so
loved it. In all the books with the that's why I look for to everybody. If you want me to love the book, you need to have a baby and be married. Because
that's it.
everybody, even if you don't want to get married, every girl. That's what we love stories. Like, why do you read a love story if you're not going to see the happy ever? Because that's your heart's desire, even if it's your real life or not. Even if I'm miserable, don't mean I want you to be. I want you. No, I want to read happy people stuff. I would tell people that's why I don't watch drama or read drama. It's too much drama in the real world. Let me read my love story and be in my little bubble here in my home.
That's right.
And I loved it when she described her being how he was so emotional to meet his grandmother. I'm glad that she was still alive because everybody else was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Well, I need that silver spoon." And he's like, "There, you playing it?" Like, I just thought that was the sweetest. Like, you ended
I
it.
love that scene. I do love that scene too. I love that scene.
I was, oh, so sweet. I'm telling you, Miss Elle Kayson, I love this book.
Thank you.
I literally said, so I gotta keep her on my author rotation. I have like all of you guys, but it helps me keep a reading over 100 books a year because you guys are just so good and your page turns. Like, even though it's I don't know 300 some pages, but it was just like, oh, it was just so good. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your art. I need you to go back into your archives because I feel like you got some good stuff back there that you was pissed off at the time. But since you wrote this 6, 7 years ago, I'm like, she got some gems she needs to bring back to life. Please bring
Well,
it back.
there's some things again. We did one in my Patreon, and they voted overwhelmingly that I should continue it. But I'm like, oh, it reminds me of some things I've published since, so I would have to, I don't want to get accused of writing the same story over and over. So we'll see. I plan to do some things with it. So you're right. I definitely am going to go back and look at some things that I've like. I open it, and I'm like, I wrote 50,000 words on this and threw it away. Let me go back and see this.
I'm gonna trust your art that you're gonna give us a masterpiece because this was absolutely. I enjoyed every bit of it. I will put my review out, guys. So check on
Thank
Wednesday
you.
when I post a review. It's gonna be 5 stars for y'all who watching. Who's not, you'll see the review. I absolutely love this.
Thank
But
you.
please, tell everybody like where they can follow you, what you got
Mhm.
next, how we can support, so that they can do so.
Um, if you're interested, like in my ongoing work, the day to day of my author life, my publisher life, and what I'm doing as an author in the sense of seeing my writing, like bonus scenes to catch up with my own old characters, and the work in progress, even. You can join my Patreon, but I'm everywhere. I'm on Facebook, TikTok, Threads, Instagram, and I'm so plain. I'm Elle Kayson everywhere. Except Instagram, I think it's like Elle Kayson 96. I was like, why? I don't know where the 96 came from, but then I remembered where the 96 came from. So, yeah, so just all over social media. I have a website. I used to blog. I haven't made up my mind if I want to get back into it because it's a different world for blogging now. Um, and I do a lot of things because I want things like that because I want to interact with people. I want to talk to people and comments or whatever. And I wasn't getting a lot of response, so I kind of chopped that off. But all those other places, you'll see me. Like, I haven't quite mastered TikTok, but I'm there. I do check in sometimes. But Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, I am there. So,
Are you having any book events you're gonna be attending? Or
oh my God, I have 14 book events this year. So you'll see me because I'm sitting down in 2027. 2025 and 2026, I said, were my years because I was in a space, and I wanted to get out and I wanted to interact with people and remember why I was doing this. So I accepted a lot of things, and happily, I'm not complaining about it. But I have events in March, April, end of May, June, I think 4 in July, August, October, and November. I'm not sure if I have anything in September.
are you
So
gonna put
yeah.
that on your page so we could see? Where are you?
We really do need to they should be on my site. We'll get my site updated. And like one of my assistants will make a list of everything together. She's getting all the flyers together now. So I know that's what she's doing it for, so she can make a list. But the first things I go to in March, I can at least tell you that. March I go to Characters in the City in Charlotte, North Carolina. And Plots and Pours in Houston. Yay, Houston. And at the end of April, I go to the Chocolate City Lit Fest in DC. So
I'm thinking about going there.
Come see us.
I want to, but they have one in Harlem that I want to go to too in June 20th. I'm in Connecticut, so with the school schedule, I'm like, okay, how's all this stuff happening? But I was like, I could probably take a train and just drive to these. But I did see that Chocolate City one, so I'm like, I want to try to make that one. And I was supposed to go to Indy, but I'm like, school. I don't know when I'm going to actually be out of school now that we have like, snow days, so that makes it harder. Like right now,
if you're going to that, you said the Harlem one is June 20th.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't go. I think Indie Love is that weekend.
It's the same weekend.
Yeah.
I bought the Indie Love ticket already, but I'm like, what if I can't go because I'm still
gotcha.
Like work
because I'll be at Indie Love too.
You're gonna be there too. I bought my ticket for VIP and everything, but I was like, now we have a snow day today. Tomorrow we might have one on Tuesday, so it's pushing back when I'll be in school.
Golly, y'all be in school that late?
Because we start.
Yeah.
My kids, the school I go to, I'm at a middle school in a different town. Both of my kids will be out of school before I'm out of school, before my district, because they went back to school in August. We went back after Labor Day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we should be going back in August. I'm like, they're going to be freaking out of school, and I'm still have to freaking go to school and help other people's kids. But with the snow days, they keep on saying, like, it's pushing it. And if I was going to Tennessee, Nashville, I want to do a long weekend. But I'm
so ready to go. Because I'm trying to go see Hamilton. Hamilton is there Thursday, so I'm so excited about the event. I want to go see Hamilton on Thursday.
I am, because I'm like, I like to do the long weekend, but right now we're not predicted to get out of school until like the 19th or that following Monday, depending on how many more snow days we get. And I'm like, I can't do a long weekend. That'd be too quick to go there and come back. Like it'll be wasting my money. So I was like, I'll tell my mom I'll probably just eat that $100 and just do the one in Harlem because I could just take the train.
Okay. Yeah, I have a friend who lives in Waterbury, and she goes to New York City, and she says it's like just not far at all.
Yes, the train, it's a quick train ride. So, but I was thinking about when I saw the Chocolate City in DC, my best friend lives right out there. So I'm like, oh, we probably should go to that one. But I just don't know how with the spring breaks, as me and my kids this year, unfortunately, are on 2 different weeks for spring breaks. But I definitely want to try to get to an event. I try to go to one every year, spend all my freaking money, but I love it, and I get to meet all the authors.
Yeah, they're great. They are so great. It's just
see one too, because I really Nashville. I'm just gonna probably eat that because it looks like they keep pushing us back. Even though we're complaining, they don't care. We're gonna be in school till July.
That is crazy.
It is. Like we have like over a feet of snow outside right now. It's freaking nuts. So they already canceled tomorrow. And it's supposed to snow and it's also supposed to snow again tomorrow. We're supposed to get up to like 20 inches of snow. But I ain't mad about it. I'm in my house.
We got about an inch of ice and everything shut down here. It's a different world.
No, I saw him post some pictures. I'm up. My dad's like, he FaceTime me. He's like, oh my God, he's in Northland. He's like, we got a little bit. We don't got that much snow. I said, I ain't mad about it. We live in New England. What can we do? But everybody, please follow her. Read her work. Obviously, she's amazing. I love this book. I will be following you. I already do, but I'm saying like follow where you're going to see if I can like pop up somewhere.
Thank you.
Please, if you have anything exciting coming out on Whitney Escapes, post. I tell everybody the book club, all authors can post so people could support them. That's why I do this. Besides me loving I just like to support. I have a business. I understand being an entrepreneur and I support any way that I can.
Thank you.
But I do appreciate you taking time out of your Sunday to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Absolutely pleasure. I already downloaded the other book, so I'm going to read that tonight. Since I don't have.
I hope you enjoyed.
If it's anything like this one, I am going to enjoy it. I think you are an incredible writer, and you don't do too much. You do just enough. And I appreciate that. I just felt like it's well. I give that book a 5 star. It was well written. And
thank you.
I be on my toes, and I love the lovely dovey of it all. But I do appreciate you. I really do. And I hope I wish you nothing but success in your journey. And thank you again for coming in tonight. And tell everybody to please follow both of us. And until next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Do you work too much, constantly on the go, miss hanging out with friends, family, or even yourself? Do you ever feel like you need an escape? Whitney's Escapes is here to help with just that. We specialize in family travel, autism travel, group trips, vacations, staycations, and more. So when you're ready for your next escape, make sure you contact us at whitneysescapes.com. Follow us on social media at Whitney's Escapes as well. Whitney's Escapes, where your dreams become your reality.